The studio lights of the View shine brightly as Tom Cruise, Hollywood's enduring action star, takes his seat on the iconic set, greeted by the familiar faces of the co-hosts. The audience buzzes with anticipation, expecting a routine promotional appearance for his latest blockbuster. Cruise, dressed in a sharp navy suit, flashes his signature megawatt smile, exuding the charm that has made him a household name for decades. The conversation begins smoothly, with light banter about his recent film, a high-octane thriller that's already generating Oscar buzz. Whoopi Goldberg kicks things off, asking about the intense stunt work, and Cruise enthusiastically shares anecdotes about dangling from helicopters and mastering complex fight choreography. The mood is jovial, and the audience is eating it up, laughing at his stories of near misses on set. But there's an undercurrent of tension, barely perceptible at first, as Joy Behar leans forward, her expression shifting from playful to pointed. She's known for her sharp tongue and willingness to dive into controversial topics, and today, she's not here to play nice. As Cruise wraps up a story about a particularly daring stunt, Behar interjects, steering the conversation toward a topic that's long been a lightning rod for the actor, Scientology. The audience shifts in their seats, sensing the pivot. Behar's question is direct, almost accusatory, asking Cruise how he reconciles his public image with the church's controversial reputation. The air thickens as Cruise's smile falters, his eyes narrowing slightly, but he maintains his composure, offering a measured response about personal freedom and belief. Behar, however, isn't satisfied, pressing harder, referencing allegations of abuse and secrecy within the organization. The other co-hosts exchange glances, aware that the interview is veering into dangerous territory. Cruise's voice takes on a defensive edge as he counters, emphasizing his right to privacy and his commitment to his faith. The exchange grows heated, with Behar doubling down, her tone sharp as she challenges him to address specific claims. The audience, initially excited, now watches in stunned silence as the conversation spirals. Cruise, visibly frustrated, shifts in his seat, his hands clenching briefly before he responds with a controlled but pointed rebuttal, accusing Behar of bias and sensationalism. The tension is palpable, and the producers in the control room are on edge, knowing this moment could define the episode. As Behar fires back, the interview teeters on the brink of chaos, setting the stage for an explosive confrontation that no one saw coming. The atmosphere in the studio crackles with unease as Joy Behar leans into her line of questioning, her voice carrying a mix of curiosity and confrontation. She references a recent documentary that painted Scientology in a harsh light, asking Cruise why he continues to align himself with an organization accused of manipulating its members. The audience, now fully aware of the stakes, holds its breath, waiting for Cruise's response. The actor, known for his ability to handle tough interviews with poise, takes a deep breath, his jaw tightening as he chooses his words carefully. He begins by acknowledging the controversy but quickly pivots to a defense of his personal journey, explaining how Scientology has provided him with tools for success and clarity in his life. His tone is earnest, almost pleading, as he tries to redirect the conversation to his work and the positive impact of his beliefs. But Behar is relentless, her questions growing more pointed as she brings up allegations of harassment tied to the church. Cruise's composure starts to fray, his voice rising slightly as he accuses Behar of cherry-picking stories to fit a narrative. The other co-hosts, sensing the interview slipping out of control, attempt to interject with lighter questions, but Behar waves them off, determined to press the issue. Sunny Hostin tries to mediate, suggesting they move on to discuss Cruise's philanthropy, but Behar's focus remains locked on Scientology. The audience is divided as some murmur in support of Behar's boldness, while others seem uncomfortable with the aggressive approach. Cruise, now visibly agitated, leans forward, his eyes locked on Behar as he delivers a passionate defense of his faith, arguing that it's unfair to judge a religion based on media portrayals. Behar counters with a statistic about former members' claims, and the exchange becomes a rapid-fire back and forth, each refusing to yield. The producers, watching the monitors, debate whether to cut to commercial, but the drama is too compelling to interrupt. Cruz's hands gesture animatedly as he speaks, his frustration boiling over into a rare display of raw emotion. He accuses Behar of religious bigotry, a charge that draws gasps from the audience and a quick retort from Behar, who insists she's only seeking transparency. The confrontation is now a full-blown spectacle, with the co-hosts caught in the crossfire and the audience hanging on every word. As the argument escalates, the studio feels like a pressure cooker, with every word adding to the mounting tension. Tom Cruise, usually the picture of control, is now visibly rattled, his face flushed as he defends his beliefs against Joy Behar's unrelenting questions. Behar, undeterred by Cruise's accusations, doubles down, citing specific lawsuits filed against Scientology and questioning Cruise's role as a public figurehead for the organization. Her tone is sharp, almost prosecutorial, as she asks whether he feels responsible for the church's alleged actions. Cruise's response is fiery. He slams his hand on the table, startling the co-hosts and drawing a collective gasp from the audience. He calls Behar's approach a witch hunt, insisting that she's twisting facts to provoke him. The other co-hosts, now visibly uncomfortable, try to steer the conversation back to neutral ground, with Whoopi Goldberg suggesting they discuss Cruise's upcoming projects. But Behar is undaunted, her eyes locked on Cruise as she challenges him to denounce the allegations outright. The audience is split, with some clapping in support of Behar's tenacity and others shaking their heads at what they perceive as an ambush. Cruise, clearly pushed to his limit, begins to unravel, his voice shaking as he recounts the personal attacks he's faced over the years for his beliefs. He speaks passionately about the good Scientology has done for him and others, but Behar interrupts, questioning the credibility of his claims. The exchange reaches a fever pitch, with both talking over each other, their voices overlapping in a chaotic clash. The producers, now sweating in the control room, signal for a possible commercial break, but the drama is too gripping to cut away. Cruise, feeling cornered, shifts his posture, his bodied language signaling a breaking point. He accuses Behar of disrespecting not just him but millions of people who practice their faith freely. Behar, unfazed, fires back, saying that public figures have a duty to address controversies tied to their affiliations. The audience is now on edge, sensing that something dramatic is about to unfold, as Cruise's frustration reaches a boiling point and the interview teeters on the edge of collapse. The confrontation reaches its climax as Tom Cruise, pushed beyond his breaking point, makes a decision that shocks everyone in the studio. In a moment of raw frustration, he reaches for his microphone, yanking it off his jacket with a swift, deliberate motion. The audience gasps as he stands, his chair scraping against the floor, and declares, "I'm done with this." His voice is steady but laced with anger as he denounces Joy Behar's approach as disgraceful and bigoted. Behar, caught off guard but refusing to back down, fires back, accusing Cruise of dodging accountability. The other co-hosts, now scrambling to regain control, try to calm the situation, with Sunny Hostin calling for a pause and Whoopi Goldberg urging everyone to take a breath. But Cruise is already moving, striding toward the edge of the set as the audience watches in stunned silence. The cameras follow him, capturing every moment of his exit as he tosses the microphone onto the table and walks off, leaving the co-hosts and producers in disarray. Behar, still seated, shakes her head and mutters something inaudible, while the audience erupts into a mix of cheers, boos, and murmurs. The control room is in chaos, with producers shouting instructions to cut to commercial, but the feed lingers on the empty space where Cruise once sat. The moment is electric, a rare glimpse of a Hollywood icon pushed to his limit on live television. As the show finally cuts to a commercial break, the co-hosts are left to process what just happened, with Behar defending her line of questioning while the others express discomfort with how the interview unraveled. Backstage, Cruise is reportedly escorted out of the studio, his team already drafting statements to address the fallout. The incident is destined to become a viral moment, with clips of the confrontation spreading across social media within minutes. The audience, still reeling, debates among themselves as some see Cruise's walkout as a stand against unfair scrutiny, while others view it as an inability to handle tough questions. As the view returns from commercial, The co-hosts attempt to regain their composure, but the weight of Tom Cruise's walkout hangs heavy in the air. Joy Behar, still defiant, addresses the audience directly, defending her questions as necessary journalism and insisting that public figures must face scrutiny. Her tone is unapologetic, though a hint of unease creeps into her voice as she acknowledges the intensity of the moment. Whoopi Goldberg, ever the mediator, tries to smooth things over, suggesting that disagreements are part of what makes the show compelling, but her words feel hollow in the wake of such a dramatic exit. Sunny Hostin and Sora Haines chime in, expressing mixed feelings. Hostin admits she respects Behar's boldness but questions whether the approach was too aggressive, while Haines wonders aloud if Cruise felt ambushed. The audience, still buzzing, offers scattered applause, but the energy in the room is fractured, with some viewers clearly siding with Cruise and others cheering Behar's tenacity. Offstage, the producers are in damage control mode, fielding calls from media outlets already clamoring for details about the incident. Social media platforms light up with reactions, with hashtags like #CruiseWalksOff and #Behar vs Cruise trending within hours. Commentators online are divided as some praise Behar for holding Cruise accountable, while others slam her for what they see as an unfair attack on his personal beliefs. Clips of the confrontation, particularly Cruise's dramatic microphone removal, are shared thousands of times, with meme accounts already turning the moment into viral content. Meanwhile, Cruise's team issues a brief statement, calling the interview disrespectful and accusing the show of exploiting his appearance for ratings. The fallout is immediate, with entertainment news outlets speculating about the long-term impact on Cruise's public image and The View's reputation for handling controversial guests. The incident sparks a broader conversation about the ethics of celebrity interviews and the line between journalism and provocation. The aftermath of the confrontation dominates headlines, with entertainment blogs and news outlets dissecting every moment of the explosive exchange. Pundits weigh in on whether Joy Behar crossed the line or if Tom Cruise overreacted by storming off the set. Some argue that Behar's questions were valid, given Scientology's controversial history and Cruise's prominent role within the organization. Others contend that the interview was a setup, designed to provoke a reaction for the sake of ratings. Talk shows and podcasts dedicate segments to the incident, with hosts debating the ethics of ambushing a guest with personal questions. Social media continues to churn with opinions, as fans of Cruise rally to his defense, citing his decades-long career and charitable work, while critics argue he should have been prepared to address tough questions. The viral nature of the walkout amplifies its impact, with late-night comedians incorporating the moment into their monologues and meme pages generating endless variations of Cruise's exit. Meanwhile, The View faces scrutiny for its handling of the situation, with some viewers calling for an apology from Behar and others praising the show for tackling tough topics. Behind the scenes, the producers are reportedly divided, with some defending Behar's approach as bold journalism and others worried about alienating high-profile guests in the future. Cruise, for his part, remains silent after his team's initial statement, focusing on his film's promotional tour while avoiding further comment on the incident. The controversy also reignites public interest in Scientology, with old documentaries and expose-tilde copyright resurfacing online. Commentators note that the confrontation may have unintended consequences, drawing more attention to the very topic Cruise sought to avoid. As the dust settles, the incident becomes a case study in the power dynamics of celebrity interviews, raising questions about how far hosts can push before crossing into exploitation. Days after the incident, the conversation around Tom Cruise's walkout shows no signs of slowing down. The View dedicates a segment to addressing the fallout, with Joy Behar doubling down on her stance, insisting that her role as a journalist is to ask tough questions, regardless of the guest's status. She acknowledges the heated nature of the exchange but stops short of apologizing, framing the confrontation as a necessary part of holding powerful figures accountable. The other co-hosts offer measured takes, with Whoopi Goldberg emphasizing the importance of respectful dialogue and Sunny Hostin suggesting that both sides could have handled things differently. The audience response is mixed, with some cheering Behar's unapologetic approach and others expressing sympathy for Cruise, who they feel was blindsided. Entertainment analysts point out that the incident highlights a broader trend in media, where provocative interviews are increasingly used to generate buzz in a crowded digital landscape. The walkout also prompts renewed scrutiny of Scientology, with advocacy groups and former members seizing the moment to share their stories. Online, the debate rages on, with X posts and YouTube videos analyzing every angle of the confrontation. Some users create side-by-side comparisons of Cruz's walkout with other famous talk show meltdowns, drawing parallels to moments like Kanye West's infamous rants or Ellen DeGeneres' awkward interviews. Meanwhile, Cruz's fans organize campaigns to support him, flooding social media with clips of his humanitarian work and testimonials from colleagues. The incident becomes a flashpoint for discussions about media bias, religious freedom, and the pressures of fame. For The View, the controversy boosts ratings, but it also raises questions about the show's approach to sensitive topics. As the story evolves, it's clear that the clash between Cruz and Behar will be remembered as one of the most dramatic moments in daytime television history. Weeks later, the Tom Cruise walkout remains a cultural touchstone, referenced in everything from pop culture podcasts to academic discussions about media ethics. The incident has sparked a broader reckoning about how celebrity interviews are conducted, with critics arguing that shows like The View often prioritize sensationalism over substance. Joy Behar, now a lightning rod for both praise and criticism, continues to defend her approach, appearing on other talk shows to discuss the confrontation and its implications. Tom Cruise, meanwhile, has shifted his focus back to his film career, avoiding further public appearances on talk shows for the time being. His team quietly works to repair any damage to his image, emphasizing his professionalism and dedication to his craft. The controversy has also had a ripple effect on Scientology's public perception, with increased media coverage of the organization's practices and history. Advocacy groups report the surge in interest from people seeking information about the church, both positive and negative. On social media, the incident continues to fuel debates, with new memes and parodies emerging daily. The View capitalizes on the buzz, teasing upcoming episodes with promises of more unfiltered conversations, though some viewers express fatigue with the show's confrontational style. The walkout has also prompted other celebrities to be more cautious about their talk show appearances, with reports of stars requesting pre-interview agreements to avoid sensitive topics. Ultimately, the clash between Cruz and Behar serves as a reminder of the high stakes of live television, where a single moment can spark a firestorm of controversy and reshape public narratives. As the story fades from headlines, it leaves behind a legacy of questions about the balance between journalistic integrity and entertainment, and whether the pursuit of truth can coexist with the demands of a ratings-driven media landscape.